Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Hey, what's going on, family? This is Ty from No Picks Podcast.
What's good, family? This is Joe, No Picks Podcast.
Heather, VIP repeat exclusive guest on No Picks Podcast.
Right.
That's your man Gio making an impromptu visit to the No Picks Podcast.
Welcome back, Gio. It was good to have you and Heather, man. We appreciate the love.
Right.
Well, to be here.
All right. So listen, I want to get right into it today, right? So there's news, there's a guy in Florida, a serviceman in Florida that was shot by a police officer, right? So some body cam footage came out. We're going to play the clip and we're going to react to it. Also, I want to play some comments that his lawyer made after we all give our initial comments, right? So that way we have like a full picture and what their argument is versus what the police department argument is, all right?
Okay.
So I'm going to share out and we just going to see where this conversation takes us.
Late last week, of course, Roger Fortson, a 23-year-old. Of course, we're also learning more information about the body cam footage that was recently released by Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office. I do want to play this video out for you here on Live Now from Fox as we get more understanding into what happened, more reaction from people. But of course, viewer discretion is advised for this. Let's listen in and watch this body cam footage.
All this other stuff and I heard a slap, like right after it, but I wasn't sure where it came from. Okay. And I couldn't call, I didn't want to call the police and
Which room is it?
1401.
1401, okay.
1401. But the girl sounded scared, the one that called. She said, she was like, it sounds like it's getting really out of hand.
So it's hit number 4, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. You mean fair, we stand out there and direct the deputy that's coming to this area?
It's not, you're going to go to the fourth floor and it's going to be on this side.
Gotcha.
You watching this?
Three, 12, 111. Three, 12, 111.
Sheriff's office, open the door. Sheriff's office, open the door.
Step out.
Drop the gun. Drop the gun. It's over there. Drop the gun.
All right, that was some very disturbing images there of this body cam footage that was released. And I did.
All right. So
Okay.
I wanted to pull that up. That was the actual body cam footage, right? Listen, I want us to go around, right? Go around, like give us our initial thoughts, and then I'm gonna play the clip from the family's attorney, and see what we have to say about that. All right, so let's go with G first. G, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on what you just saw? And this is the actual body cam footage. This ain't hearsay. This ain't innuendo. This the actual body cam footage. What are your thoughts?
All right, so it's hard, right? So one from he said put the gun down, right? He got that. He announced himself as the police. There, so I don't. There's if there's a gun, it does change the situation. It just there's a. I don't know, bro. I'm lost. I don't need honestly because it's hard, bro. I'm hoping that in situations like this is where I would I understand where people advocate for a different level of training, right? When you go into a situation like that, there's always a possibility of danger. When you sign up to be a cop,
Right.
when you sign up to be any type of like civil servant in law enforcement, there's a certain amount of danger that you sign up for. You willingly like say every day I'm going to risk my life. That's literally like their claim to fame. So when you do that, you have a responsibility to handle situations with a certain amount of training and tact, right? It's disappointing to have an interaction within 15 seconds. Not even like 15, maybe like 10 seconds of like open the door, somebody's dead, right? And not like gun, everything. Maybe like my thing, maybe he's registered, so he not even like maybe he coming to like, hey, I got the gun. I'm gonna have a chance to like, hey, officer, I'm licensed to carry. I just want to have it out. Like maybe that's his approach, right? So there's not even enough time to establish any of that, right? The gun is not pointed, it's not up at him, it's not like you get what I'm saying, it's not in a threatening situation, but it is a gun. It's a gun. So
right.
It's hard because I would hope that you would have the training and the ability to like, hey, you have a gun in your hand. My gun, I got my gun. I'm chilling. You got yours. Are we shooting it out? In those situations, I would hope that the cop would be the person that's in control of the situation and not responding out of fear. And yeah, fear is real. I accept that, but that's a fear response within less than they probably didn't encounter each other for 15 seconds, bro. If he got a firearm and it's in his hand, like can you have a gun around a cop? Is it legal to have a gun in your house? There are a lot of there are a lot of things that it's not as nuanced of like, oh, it's just a cop killing somebody and he had a gun. He's in his house with a gun. He can have a gun. It's not pointed at him. It's not raised. It's not in a threatening situation. So it's hard, bro.
All right. So what do you think, Heather?
I can agree that with positions of authority come responsibility. I would also argue that as a controlled or as an airman, he had been trained with some sort of ability to handle certain situations as well. I don't want to discredit his intelligence, right? I'm not going to say he's not as equally trained or otherwise, because he is obviously intelligent, right? And so I argue even as a civilian or as a gun owner or somebody with those rights and license to carry comes a level of responsibility, right? And when an officer is coming to your house for a domestic situation, the last thing I'm going to do is open the door while they're beating on it with a gun in my hand. I would, even if it's my position that I have it and I'm in my house, knowing the behavior in which we're in, I'm going to have it on my counter, open the door as politely as I can. I'm probably going to answer his questions, with regard to the situation, try to get him the hell out of my face and out of my property. But I'm certainly not going to open the door with my gun in my hand. Now, I get the moment too. The moment could be just like high adrenaline. I don't know the whole situation in terms of what really happened. I hear there's a domestic or possibly a domestic. Perhaps, just having it in his hand or otherwise. But and then I say to myself, why would you have it in your hand during a domestic situation anyways? What value is it? You're not defending yourself in terms of an invasion or a burglary. The officer announced himself. Who are you going to use that gun on, and why is it in your hand?
Okay. All right. Joe, what you think, Joe?
I feel like I don't have enough context, man. Like, so the lady called the cops on the Airman.
No, so what happened was,
I'm trying to, if I had just a little more, I just want to know why the police were called on this on the Airman.
They said it was a domestic dispute between him and
somebody
and
in the house,
else.
in the apartment.
It's yeah.
Okay, so there was probably like a couple fighting or some kind of physical altercation or something, or some loud screaming. So the cops were called, and then a cop shows up, and then do they know that this person is an airman?
No, they don't know. They don't know anything about this dude. They just like somebody called the cops.
Honestly, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter in the moment. The man opened the door with the gun in his hand.
Wait. But no, they don't. They don't know. They don't know. He could be the president or he could be a homeless person. But they don't know.
Now in the video, did the guy have a gun in his hand as soon as they opened that door?
Yes.
Yes.
You saw it? Did you see the video?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now I can give my perspective. Okay. Oh Lord have mercy.
Right.
So he opens the door, and in his right hand is the gun.
The cop announced himself.
Right.
It's the sheriff's office. Why would you open the door with a gun in your hand, knowing there's a cop on the other side who announced himself? Why would you open that door with the gun in your hand? If it was on your hip, if it was, you know what I mean, somewhere but in your hand, like that.
No, Joe. No. This ain't the time to go back and forth.
I know.
My initial
opinion first.
That's my initial reaction. So that's why I just need that little bit of context, like what exactly. But I mean, my initial thought was, damn, he started firing off immediately. But then I'm also like, he announced himself, and you open the door knowing it was the police with a gun in your hand. That's like me, like reaching into my pocket to get my license when it's dark, and I'm like pulled over for a traffic violation, and instead I should keep my hands on. You know what I mean? Like you got to do certain things because they don't know what you're reaching for. You know what I mean? So like you have to understand the cops don't know what your intentions are. So. I mean, oh Lord, this is that's my initial thought. Like, why would you answer the door with the? Let me just keep it there for now.
All right, so keep it different. All right, because listen, we got all night, right?
Give me a second.
Just give my little 2 cents.
Yeah, let me get a pencil real fast. I gotta make a note. I gotta come back to that.
All right, no, go ahead. So listen, I'm gonna give my little 2 cents, right? And I'm gonna make this real quick, so because we gotta go on to the lawyers.
Yeah, I want to hear the
comments,
defense.
Right? Yeah, defense. Yeah.
What?
So listen. When I first saw this, I was like, "Yo, this dude is out of pocket." Like the guy answering the door with the actual gun in his hand is out of pocket. I've never even heard of a situation like that, bro. Like that's insane to me. Like, listen, if I'm a pizza delivery dude and I knock on your door and you answer the door with a gun in your hand, we're not conducting that transaction. I'm leaving. I'm getting in my car and I'm leaving.
Right.
So like. Right. That's like the maximum amount of threat that you could possibly have, right? I guess if you come out with like a sword and it's blood all over you, maybe that trumps that. But it's like outside of that, bro, like you have an actual firearm in your hand when you're answering the door. Put it this way. I knock on G's door. I go to I don't know where G, let's say you live in North Philly right now. I drive to G house, I knock on G's door. G opened the door with a gun in his hand. Me and G, we've been friends since college. I will have an issue with him. I will be like, "Yo, why the fuck are you answering your door like that, bro? Like, this is a problem for me. Like, what does this do? Like, how does this help you? We're probably not chilling. We're probably not talking for a while because I'm like,
you might question his mental. Like, what's going on?
Like, what's going? Like, that's crazy. Okay, but that's my. We all gave our little 2 cents, right? So I want to play. So the family hired an attorney. His name's Ben Crump. Anybody? You probably guys heard of it, right? So he's like the civil rights lawyer, black dude. He gets in all the hey, don't breathe, all those cases, right? So he made some comments. I want to play them, and then we can go crazy. You know, we could have a nice little slugfest after this.
The video shows it opens in less than a second.
God damn it.
He then began shooting.
So wait a minute.
Rounds, hitting him 6 times.
So wait a minute. Fortson opens the door. And instead of the officer saying, "Come out with your hands up," the moment he opens the door, the officer starts firing.
Roland, when you see this video, Roland, I mean, it is deplorable when you look at how fast he took this young man's life. And this young man was outstanding in every way. He was a special ops. Roland, he had did a tour of duty. He was taking his mother and was the hero to his little 10-year-old sister, 16-year-old brother. In fact, there's a photo we'll get to you. He was so proud of being in the United States Air Force. He had an airman's uniform on, and he bought his 9-year-old little sister at the time airman's uniform, and it's so adorable because she is saluting him. And this is is the type of person we had that they are trying to make out to be the bad guy. He wasn't the bad guy. He was a good guy.
Questions from the panel, Reese.
All right. So.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
That was the lawyer's response.
So that's the lawyer's response. So with that extra context, what do you think, G?
All right, so two things, right? I think sometimes, so I do acknowledge that he, from our position, right? Like anybody that got logical sense, answering the door while a cop is knocking on it with a gun in your hand isn't probably the best way to go about things. Two things that you guys have said though. One thing you talked about there was this kind of comply notion, like when the cops come, we have to comply or we'll die kind of thing, right? Where
not necessarily die, but I greet them differently than with aggression. I greet them as I would like to be greeted, like a human in general conversation. I don't get aggressive with things like that.
In the same sense of like if they're human, so there's a certain amount of interaction that I'm allowed to have with a human being that like whether you got a badge or not, I should be able to do that. So with that, right, like where I say with the comply thing, we've seen the instances where like people have complied and they die, or you don't, or with it, somebody of a different hue. I've seen like a man running around with a fucking machete, running, and the cops like we're getting away from him.
But let's talk about this though. Let's talk
I
about
remember
this.
that. I remember that.
Yeah. So with this,
the problem is we could branch off and talk about.
I know, but I'm only mentioning it.
Let's
for context. For context, right? So when you talk about like the comply, like, all right, is it wrong? So the second part of that context thing is that they're in Florida, which is like a stand your ground thing. So I'm gonna be appalled, right, if the NRA, the gun owners of Florida, don't stand up and say, hey, we have the right to own guns, especially inside of our homes. Because if he's a legally registered gun owner, then he literally, gun not raised in his hand. It's an open carry state. So if it's an open carry state and I can walk around with a fucking gun, I should damn well be able to answer my door, take a shit, take a piss. I can do whatever I want with the fucking gun. So if the NRA don't jump on this as an opportunity to be like, hey, you can't fucking shoot us inside of our houses when we have guns unless we fucking come at you, then there's going to be some type of hypocrisy within that, because in a stand your ground state, in the Trayvon Martin, fucking Zimmerman, like the Florida is the craziest fucking state when it comes to guns laws. You can walk around, you can piss, you can shit, you can do whatever with your gun. I can fucking answer my door with my gun then. So that becomes the problem. And then the last part, real fast. Heather says she would question his mental. This is where it goes into the proper training, right? I understand it is a dangerous job, bro. I don't want no cops to die. I would never like say that. There is a fucking split second difference of like, yo, what the fuck wrong? What is the bolt on that he got the gun? It's not raised, but it takes like a split second to be like, this motherfucker, this is a crazy motherfucker. Look, he answering the door with the gun. There's a certain amount of sympathy that you have for people when they have mental health issues. And where I make that reference with a motherfucker running around with the machete, like they chalked it up that he was crazy. He not really trying to fucking die. He just crazy. And a lot of times we don't get that same sympathy of like, yo, come into the situation looking at the motherfucker like Heather said, as a human. It's instantly a threat, bro. Why the fuck is he answering the door with a gun? You got 5 seconds. It's like, listen, if he raise it, you listen, you up it. All right.
If he raised it, it might. All right. Let me ask you before you get deeper into it.
That was it.
Was the cop right or was the cop wrong?
It's not a right or wrong thing,
I want to be very clear on it.
It's not. I want to be clear on it. It's not right or wrong. And we talk about this all the time. It's not a right or wrong thing.
How about this? Should the cop lose his job? Should the cop go to jail? How about that? Not right or wrong. Should the cop lose his job? Should the cop go to jail?
Neither.
That's all I want to.
Honestly, no, neither. But I do think all cops should be better trained to handle situations like that.
So you think he should be back out on the street being a cop? You're cool with that?
After training, yeah.
Okay. All right. So what do you think, Heather?
I have a lot of agreeances and a couple disagreeances with Gio here. It doesn't matter if you're in your house. If a cop gets called to your house for a domestic situation, right? Like you're in a domestic situation. I don't care if you're in your house. I don't care where you are. You bring a gun, you raise a gun, you have a gun when you open the fucking door, bro. You are asking to be shot. Like, you know why the police are there. You know why they got called.
No, you don't. He don't know.
I mean,
you don't know why. He might not even have an idea.
He was in a domestic dispute. He was in the domestic dispute. He was there when it happened. He could imagine things got loud. He could imagine that's why the sheriff's called. I mean, the guy's not stupid. Please don't discredit his intelligence.
I'm not. I just.
Don't discredit his
I'm gonna let
intelligence.
you
He
go.
knew. He knew he was in the domestic. He knew they weren't coming to repo his car or evict him. Like, come on.
But in a state like
You know what
Florida,
I'm
it don't
saying?
matter
Like,
what you're
so
doing. Like
I feel
that's
like
one of
when,
the things
especially
about
when you know, like
citizenship, right?
you were in
Like
you're in the situation. You know why they're there. You open the door. Hey, how's it going, officer? Yeah, there was a dispute. It's all good now. She's chilling. Like,
But
I'm
there
sorry,
wasn't
what?
any time for him to speak. Like it was just
Because
kind
he
of like,
opened the door with the gun. Like if he
It's
didn't do that,
unreasonable.
if he didn't,
But
even
it's
if it was
unreasonable
holstered,
response.
anything but you're waving it. Like you're like there's no if you're in a domestic, you have no business having a gun. In a domestic dispute, you have no business having a gun. The man came for a domestic call. The officer came for a domestic call. He had details of violence in the past by a witness neighbor who has heard it. He knows that there's danger imminent ahead of him. He announces who he is. He lets the guy know I'm the police officer. And the guy opens the door with a gun in his hand. A very smart, intelligent man with credentials and training, because we now learned that he went overseas and has a lot of training, gun training, in fact. Now, I will say this. That officer, I believe, is wrong in the attack. I believe he should have took out a knee, took out his hand, took out. I'm more a proponent of taking out body parts than I am taking your life.
No.
Yes.
I gotta fight you on this. I gotta fight you on
Kyle
this.
tell you they don't train to shoot body
I gotta
parts.
fight you on this, Heather.
I know. I think they
Listen.
should. And that goes me to what I'm saying with
Listen.
Gio, that they should have
very
that
difficult.
kind of training. I don't believe shoot to kill. I don't like the shoot to kill thing. I think there should be
but all right.
shoot to disarm or work to disarm.
Okay, all right. All right, Joe, go, because I got a lot of stuff I got to say.
I know. As soon as she said that, I was like, oh, man, we talked about this on another one where, like, all right, so what I'll say is that I think that, and I'll say this is an important conversation, right? Because gun rights, gun advocacy, police shootings, civilian shootings, like this has been in the news for a long time now. It's been an issue that's been a center, like it's been on mainstream for a while now, right? So we have to keep talking about these things. And I think that a law, I'm trying to figure out who's to blame for this, right? I think that the cop did everything he had to do initially. He announced himself, he knocked, he said it was the police. And if you're coming there for domestic disputes, I know that when you're in like an altercation or you're in the heat of the moment, you're not thinking straight. You know what I mean? So like if I'm angry and I'm fighting someone might catch a stray. Like I might accidentally hit somebody if somebody tries to jump into a physical altercation that I'm having. You know what I mean? Like when you're in that moment, the adrenaline's rushing, you're angry, you don't think straight. So that officer is probably thinking, I don't know what headspace that person is in now, but I'm going to try to shoot him. See, I don't know. This is so messy because I want to say that the cop did everything he had to do, but it's like, I don't know. You don't come to your door with a gun in your hand unless you're trying to send a message. What that message is, I don't know. Are you trying to flex? Are you trying to intimidate? Are you trying to show them like I'm ready to kill? Like you never
or want to die.
If you want to leave, right? If you want to leave that up to interpretation to the police officer, then you gotta take whatever comes your way, even if it's that death. Like if you walk to your door with the firearm, even if you're legally allowed to have it, and even if it's not a cop, if it's the pizza delivery man, like you said, if it's the a Jehovah's Witness coming to my house and I walk to the door with my damn gun out, like, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to send a message when you walk to your door with your gun in your hand. That's my thing. So that's what I wish the brother was still alive to ask him, like, what were you thinking? You know what I mean? Like, what was your intention to showcase, to flash your gun in your hand, even though if it wasn't up? What is your intention? If you leave that up to interpretation to the other party, it could go wrong. In this case, it did go wrong. So that's how I honestly feel about it. Like, I feel bad that the brother died. It sucks that we have another person shot and killed. I'm sure people loved him. Rest in peace. Condolences to his family. I just don't want to make this a race issue. And I know that
it's definitely a race issue.
Yeah. So
it's 1,000% a race issue.
But we talked about this. The media fuels this racial tension between communities and police officers, and it's not good for anybody. It's not good for anybody because the more you fuel it, now you have crime spiking because cops have kind of taken a back seat. Cops are like not going after petty theft now. Cops are like falling back and like not really doing their actual duties, their civic responsibilities. Like cops are like, you guys want to defund the police? You guys want to give us shit? You guys going to give us heat? So now we're going to take a back seat. So all of this it's not hurting it's not hurting communities. It's not helping. Sorry. So I know this is going to get turned into a racial issue, but in my mind, I don't think it's a racial issue because if there was any man coming to that door with your gun in hand, like I said, you were trying to send a message, and that's my biggest thought right now. Like, what is the message you were trying to convey when you walk to your door with your gun in your hand? So I'll keep it there for now. But that,
Right.
you
So
know,
listen,
like
let me
what?
say my little piece, right, bro. You can't get more threatening than that. You can't get more threatening than that. You come to your door. I don't care if you listen. Y'all kept making the thing like, oh, it's a domestic dispute. But listen, it don't matter if he was there to say, hey, turn off the water. You're like, you can't come to the door with a gun in your hand like that when there's a cop knocking on your door. I don't care what you're there for. That's unreasonable. That's unreasonable. So it's an unreasonable response if your fucking neighbor is knocking on your door. Like it's unreasonable for anybody.
Right.
Like it don't have to be a cop. It could be a homeless person being like, yo, I'm lost. Can you give me some direct? You can't come. It's an unreasonable response, no matter who you are. Unless you're a drug dealer and there's a potential drug dealer trying to rob you. That's it. That's the only time I can see it makes sense.
Right.
But it makes absolutely no sense. Y'all can't make it's domestic. It don't matter. You shouldn't have.
It doesn't matter, but the fact that was what it was, the dude can't play. There's no excuse for why he came to the door with the gun in his, like, not even the fact that he's licensed.
Right.
I'm gonna let
you cook, Ty. Go ahead, Ty.
So G said something. Heather said something. I got to address. Right.
Okay.
G said, "Oh, there should be more training." Okay. What more training can there be to where somebody opens the door with a gun and you convince them that that's not a good idea? Like what? That person already knew that it wasn't a good idea when they answered the door with the gun. What could he said? Hey, like what could he have? What could he have said to make him say, hey, you know what? Maybe not having this gun is a good idea. Like, you don't get that much time to like, basically you guys are hoping on the benevolence of like the people holding the guns. Like basically the cops are just like at the mercy of the person holding the gun. So basically, so you could drop the gun or you could put the gun in my face. Either way, I gotta wait till you make a move. Why the fuck would I do that?
You don't think that's a two-way street though?
Oh, so Joe, there you go.
Two-way street?
So listen, right?
No. I'm talking about in this. Listen. We can talk about 1,000 different scenarios. I'm talking about in this scenario specifically.
I
see no problem with the cop did. I see no problem with the cop.
No, I'm keeping it in this situation too. But that's what I'm saying. Like, am I gonna assume that cop is not gonna kill me off rip?
Yo,
like, you know how many times
I think if you got a gun in your hand, you should assume that the cop's going to kill you.
As nuance.
If you have a gun in your hand, I think you should assume that the cop's going to shoot you. I think that's a very reasonable response. Absolutely.
Let's think about this, right? So let's just think about this.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
One of the things that y'all keep saying about the cop showed up to your door. So if I answer the door with a gun, that's like somehow unreasonable. This is just
very unreasonable.
This is purely devil's advocate. This is not my personal beliefs, but just as a registered Republican, I got to make this argument, right? The reason why I can enter my door with a gun is because the cop has a gun.
That's stupid as shit.
No, it's not. It's literally. Listen, if I wanted to shoot,
so you can do everything a cop can do. That makes no sense.
No. That literally.
I mean, if you have
that's
a right,
what the right
to have
is. Like as a citizen, you cannot take my rights because you are fucking like a civil servant. Like that's literally the meaning of it, right? So that's theoretical. Then the second part, right? The second part of it is he is an Air Force trained person, right? And I know I know the cop don't know this, but if somebody with a gun, if you are, it's a cop knocking on the door. I know you got a gun. Right? The cop is educated. I know you got a gun. If I wanted to fucking shoot you before you shot me, I would shoot through the door.
Right.
That means nothing.
That means nothing. That's a good point.
No. I mean, I
think about it. That means nothing. So basically, so when cops knock on people's door, they should say, "Hey, you know what? If this guy wanted to shoot me, and so the cop should just shoot everybody's doors." That's
no. What G is saying is, if that guy wanted to kill the police officer, he would have shot.
I know you got the gun on the other side of the door, bro. That's all.
Right. He knows the police
how that goes into like the split second training. I'm just saying that.
What both of you are saying they're unreasonable things.
It's not unreasonable.
So what did he do? So Ty and Heather, out of curiosity, at the moment that the police officer opened the door. And you see the gentleman standing. He opens the door.
No, the dude opened the door. The cop didn't do it. The guy opened the door.
I'm saying, okay. So my question to Heather and Ty is right because the moment that you saw the body cam when the airman opened the door, what did he do that was illegal in that situation? Did he do anything illegal?
Having a gun is a threat
No. But is it illegal though? Having
Yes,
anyone with a gun is a threat. But if you can legally carry it, is it illegal to have it?
It's not. That's
So
what I'm saying.
my question
in
is-
Florida. In Florida, it's not.
No, but
you can be waving it.
No.
In
It's
Florida,
just
you
It doesn't matter where you are, though. It doesn't matter where you are.
Oh,
You can
he
do
said he
what you
wasn't. I didn't see
want.
him
That's a
either.
threat. You're answering the door with a gun. That's
I can do whatever I want
Well,
with the
once
gun as
again,
long as I don't
but yeah,
shoot nobody with it.
expect to be
You
shot.
can't.
hold on, y'all. But
Expect to
this
be
is
suicide by
the
cop.
point. This is the gray area. This is why.
Suicide by cop.
This
Say
is the
again,
gray
Heather?
area. This is why I'm asking this question, right? Because I hear what G is saying, but this is the gray area. So I ask again, and I'm hoping it's just a simple yes or no. And the question is, when that gentleman opened the door, based on the body cam footage, did he do anything criminal/illegal? It's a yes or no
Yes.
from Ty and Heather.
No.
Did he do anything
He didn't
illegal?
do anything illegal. He didn't do
Yes.
anything illegal.
Okay. Ty said no. Heather, in that from the
That is
body cam
illegal.
footage, huh?
That is illegal. He presented a threat to a law enforcement officer. That is illegal.
He-
He presented a threat by having a gun
In
when
the
he
open
opened the
carry
door.
state,
The
it's
cop,
not-
like
it's
you
not-
said, didn't know what was going to
It's
happen.
open carry state.
It's an open carry
It's
state.
not an open wave state. It's holster.
You're
No.
in Florida, right?
I am.
It's a.
What you
I'm
mean
about to say
open
Heather's
weight?
from Florida, so she might
I'm
know
in
the law a little
Florida.
bit better than me.
You can't just be
Heather's in
walking
Florida
around.
right now.
No, what Gio described is not true. You can't just walk on the streets and wave your gun around. No, you cannot. It's holstered, and you can draw it when you're defending yourself. And you better hope there's cameras to prove it.
Okay.
Because our DA is a bitch,
I don't know nothing about it.
Okay.
and she will come
All
for
right.
you. But what I'm
listen,
saying is, what he described is not true. You can't just like walk around the store and have your gun all flinging all over the
So-
place. No, you can't.
But
There's
can you-
expectations for how to conduct yourself with the gun.
in public.
Okay.
In public, correct?
In public, you cannot just walk around with it in your hand. No.
Inside of
Open
your
carry is not
inside of
open
your
wave.
place of residence, is there an ordinance of a way to conduct yourself with a registered gun inside of your place of residence?
There's a way to conduct yourself with any law enforcement.
Inside of your place of residence.
And it's inside of everywhere.
There has to be
Everywhere. There's an
So,
expectation.
wait. So let me ask a question. So, G, is it your belief that like as long as you're in your house, you can do whatever? You can have a landmine. You can open the door and say, "Hey guys, I got a bazooka right here, but I'm not doing nothing with it. I just got a bazooka. I can do whatever the fuck I want."
Extremes, but
No. But
theoretically,
your whole argument.
No, theoretically, yes. Theoretically, as an American fucking citizen,
This is nonsense. This is
no,
nonsensical.
seriously,
This
like this is
nonsensical right here.
literally like it's constitutionally bound. As an American citizen, there are certain things.
You sound like a sovereign citizen, bro.
A what?
You sound like a sovereign citizen.
Sovereign
You sound like a
citizen?
sovereign citizen.
No,
You
no,
talk
no.
about the like.
Bro, we talked about this shit all the
Never mind,
time.
never mind.
I am an American purist, bro. I actually believe in the American Constitution. I believe in the rights and fucking the rights and abilities that we have in this country that people like you actually quote unquote go out to fight for. I actually believe in the fucking words and what they mean, and I read them and I understand them.
So you're a constitutionalist.
But G, I want to understand something from you and Joe. Do y'all think what the dude did was reasonable or unreasonable? That's all I want to know.
I don't think it was illegal, but I just, like I said, I don't understand.
G, I know you. I want to know. Okay,
He
so
was
Joe
fucking
doesn't.
tripping,
Joe,
bro.
G, is he reasonable? Because he was in his
tripping.
house. Was it a reasonable
was fucking
response?
tripping. That's listen. He's 1,000% tripping. Everything Heather is saying in terms of like he tripping is a certain way you conduct yourself with a cop. It's 100% right. However, Joe asked a simple question, and the answer was no. The cop has some liability. He did not do any.
The answer is yes.
What?
The answer is
I would
Heather
need
says
to,
yes. That's the big question, though.
No,
That's a
There
big
was
question.
as soon as you you open the door with the gun to a law enforcement officer, you have presented a threat to him. That is illegal.
How? But like, if he's in possession, because I know this is like law, so it's going to get real technical. But being in possession of a firearm inside of your house, answering the door, if it's in a non-threatening way. So I'm assuming I'm a defense attorney, right? Here's a fucking Air Force trained, probably the second or hardest military branch to get into, right? You got like Marines, Air Force, like you had to get a certain level.
Air Force? Nah, bro.
On ASVAB?
They're pretty easy to get into.
All right, well, whatever. All right, but
no, you gotta have a high ASVAB score, but they don't do shit as far as.
I know, but
anyway,
so from a like technical fucking intelligence, he has a certain amount of intelligence. So here's somebody who's not only
he's smart.
intelligent, he's an intelligent person, but he's also trained with the firearm. Yeah. He has it in his hands and not raised, pointed towards you. And then they'll probably show the footage. Gun not on the trigger. Is it a threat to the cop? As a defense attorney, I'm gonna make that argument, right? Is it a threat? Because I'm answering my door. I have it, right? Yes. I haven't, and instead of letting you see it on the thing, I'm thinking I'm gonna get a split second to explain. Hey, officer, I'm so on and so forth. But before I even can answer the door, I'm
shooting you too. So I'm shooting you too.
No.
And then you said something too. And this is a real life example. I've been around people with guns. This is like we talk about like training and being scary. I've had motherfuckers like pull a gun out, and I'm like, oh, all right, cool. There's a split second where you like, are you there? There's a difference. You get a split second with motherfuckers that aren't trying to kill you, right? If a motherfucker trying to kill you, you don't get a split second. He like I said, he'd have shot through the door. He'd have came out. He'd been shooting.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
From like real life examples. Like there's always
no. You're making assumptions.
If he really wanted to kill the cop,
he would have done it. No, not necessarily. To me, I'm opening the door, I'm slapping in your face, like
because he had it in my hand, bro. So if like seriously, like this,
why would I trust? Why would I trust that? Why would I think I'm the cop? You open the door, I'm like, okay, he has his gun in his hand, but he doesn't want to kill me.
Let me ask you a question.
He would have shot me. No one's gonna think like that.
When if a cop, as
people on the goddamn hand,
as a legal firearm carrying citizen, so if a cop approaches me with his hand on his gun and I'm not doing nothing wrong, I then have the right to pop his ass because I'm afraid because he can shoot me. Now if I'm in my right and he's drawn, because I've had cops literally like jump out the car on me and like come.
Listen. So let's talk about this because we can go down this rabbit hole until the sun fucking come up, but we'll get nowhere, right? Because you'll always bring up an example to where it's like, well, this happened to my friend Ray. But okay, let's just talk about this so that way we're all on the same page, right?
This ain't a race issue though. I don't want this to be a race issue.
But this is the problem is it's becoming a race issue.
Is it becoming a race issue?
Absolutely. You should watch. People are saying that the cop is racist.
So everything
for that little clip.
For that little clip, people are saying, "Yo, the cop is racist."
I don't think so. I don't think because, like I said, it could have been a man of any color or a woman of any color.
Hey,
if you answer your door with a gun in hand,
you don't think Ben Crump is going to turn this into a race issue?
But
for sure,
Ben Crump is talking about this shit right now.
And I don't want it to. We don't need it. We don't need this issue right now. This is crazy.
It's not a race issue, but like we have to acknowledge that race is a part of American culture, right? So like there is when we talk about those interactions. Like those split seconds of sympathy and like those moments of like, all right, is this motherfucker crazy? There's a higher rate, and I'm not talking of any like fucking study or nothing, so don't quote me, but just there's a certain level of sympathy you get when people look like you, when you understand them. African Americans are made to be criminalized in American culture. I don't give a fuck what you say. It's in our music, it's in our art, it's in our culture.
Okay. But are you saying that if the dude was white, he would not have been shot? Is that your argument?
I'm saying that I cannot say that because
no. But do you think he still would have been shot?
I'm saying that we have to consider the fact that if he saw him as a human being, right? If he saw and there's a possibility, or matter of fact, there's a possibility that he didn't see him as a human being. He saw him as more of a threat than he probably was because we're painted to be threats in America. And that's just a part of our culture, bro. I don't give a fuck what you think.
But Jay, that was okay, but you didn't answer my question though. Like, so are you saying if the dude was white, he would not have been shot?
No, I'm not saying that. He might have been shot anyway.
Yes or no?
He might have been.
Okay, then that's the whole goddamn...
Yeah, that's my response to it. If it had been a white person, Latino, if it had been a woman, if it had been a teenager, I think that in all those cases he probably would have shot and killed that person. I don't think it was because that brother was black. I think it's because he came to the door with a firearm. You know what I mean?
I don't even think the dude had enough time to process. Like,
I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. Because in this situation, I feel like no matter what the color was,
he's trained to get rid of the threat.
He's not
sees the witness as a threat. Recognizes a threat, has to get rid of the threat. That's his training.
We wouldn't make.
I understand it. I wish it was not so like that. I wish
reference.
limbs could be shot instead and death, and instead of death. But I understand the training and the need to remove the threat, and so that's where I believe that officer did not do anything wrong.
Listen, but the whole it's my thing. It wasn't a race thing. Like the dude was out of pocket. Listen, I'm on TikTok all the time watching these cop videos. I see white dudes running out their car getting shot all the fucking time. They do some dumb shit and get shot right in the face. So no, it's not
publicized.
It's not a thing to where like it's not a thing, bro. It's just they just don't talk about it. Ben Crump ain't on TV. He don't roll a Martin show talking about some this is fucked up because the dude name was Miles Daniels. It wasn't some white. It wasn't Taquan Johnson. Like no.
Well, that's another conversation as to why. Why?
So
can
we all
go ahead?
Can we all agree that if a police officer knocks on your door, you should not open that door with a firearm in your hand. I'm gonna say you should not do it. Does everyone agree with that? Does everyone
I'm
agree
not
that if a
going to
cop
do
is
it.
called to your door? Right. Okay. No, I just want to see because I want to make sure. Like, I know we have our disagreements. We disagree, but like, and I hope that we can agree that if a cop ever comes to your door, you will not open that door with your gun in your hand. Like,
No,
can
I'm
we
not
agree on
opening
that?
that motherfucker at all. Okay, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
hide
that's
and
what
come
that.
home. I ain't
Yeah,
even in there.
this one's
Bruh,
messy.
you missed me. I'm already gone.
No, we'd have had the
Yeah,
conversation
this
through the
one's
door.
messy.
We'd have had the conversation through the door. I was like, yes, officer, how can I help you? Oh, that's cool. You heard about
That's more
I
reasonable.
hate this
Yeah,
shit.
you heard about
That's more
domestic
reasonable.
disturbance.
That's a
So,
reasonable
okay,
response.
cool. When you get your warrant and you come back and see me, I got you. I'll open this fucking door. But until then, you kick
Even
back.
then, even with the warrant, I'm not opening it. I'm not home. Nobody's opening the door. Nobody. We're gonna pretend like nobody's home. And then when I get my clothes right and I get all my white on and I get myself put together and I got my commissary ready, I'm gonna go turn myself in nicely.
Yeah, nicely. But you ain't taking me to jail when I want.
I'm gonna take all my white clothes in with me. I'm gonna have like 5 white bras and 5 white pair of boxers and 5 white long johns and my white shoes with no laces. And I'm gonna go in there with no jewelry on. And I'm gonna go in there with a fat commissary and I'm gonna lay down.
She said, "Ready."
Because that's how it works.
Do my bid 10
I'm gonna
toes
turn
back.
myself in, though, but I'm not opening the door unless I'm dressed ready.
This was an interesting
case. So listen, let's give our final thoughts. Listen, I thought this was gonna be a knockdown, drag out. You a coon, you a uncle. I thought this was gonna be like. I thought it was gonna be one of them.
Not when you got intelligent people on the podcast.
This one was layered. This one was a little messy. Like there was
It
like
was-
yeah.
It was because he drew, bro. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, G, before you go, let's give our final thoughts. I'm gonna start with Heather. Heather, give your final thoughts, and we'll wrap this up.
I really wish the situation was different and the outcome wasn't fatal. I pray for his family, and I hope everybody finds peace and solace in their journey. And I really feel bad for that situation. I again wish it was different. I wish he didn't open the door with a gun. And my condolences do go out to the family and all parties involved. That's all I got.
All right. So G, give us your final thoughts on this.
Yeah, man. Definitely a tragic situation all around. I think we sometimes discredit the experience of taking a life on the job. I'm pretty sure that cop is a regular person. And he didn't come outside today like, oh, I want to murder somebody. I hope he didn't, right? So condolences to both sides. Definitely a tragic situation, and I'm sure the cop is looking like, damn, he might be questioning like, could I have done things differently, right? But yeah, it's definitely not as simple. It's cut and dry. Like, oh, he was drawn. Like, the question is, can you have a gun around a cop in your hand without pointing at him? That's a question to
No, that's not the question. That's not the question.
Why?
That's not the question.
That's
not the question, right?
That's a question for me.
That was never the question.
That's your question.
That's my question.
That's a question.
That's a question. So that's a question. It's a question. I don't know if it's a good question, but it's a question.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'll echo what Heather and Gio said, and if the statistic is still true, most police officers don't even fire their firearm, on duty.
Right.
So most officers do not. But I also keep in mind that a police officer, that occupation doesn't even break the top 10 of most dangerous jobs in the country. Like, it doesn't even break the top 10 of most dangerous jobs. So I get that there is danger with that profession, but I also feel like that danger kind of sometimes gets inflated. I know that it's dangerous. But those are two things I try to keep in mind, that most cops don't use their firearm, but also, it's not one of the most dangerous professions. Not top 10, I should say. It's still dangerous, but my heart goes out to the families on both parties. I'm pretty sure that officer is going to need some psychological, some therapy.
Take a desk.
Yeah, I don't want this. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I just don't want this to get blown up as a big racial issue. We already have enough racial issues going on now, so. Yeah, this is just a mess. My heart goes out to all parties involved. So that's it.
All right. So my final thoughts, do not answer the door for anybody. A cop, a city worker, maybe you got a goddamn water main leak or something like that. Don't answer the door with a gun. You will be immediately perceived as a threat, right? If, like I said, I'm your pizza delivery dude. I'm not conducting that business. Like, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna be like, yo, fuck you, asshole. You answered the door with a gun. I'm out of here. right? You could come to the store and come pick it up. This shit gonna be cold by then.
I'm gonna eat that shit on my way out.
So no. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was my thing is that it was just a very unreasonable response. Right? It's like somebody like you come in the door, you just punch somebody in the face. You be like, "What the fuck I do?" Like I'm not in your door. Like it's unreasonable, right? So it's like so then to try to paint it to be like, oh, he was like maybe he was a good guy, and guess what? Maybe the cop was racist, right? Let's just say this dude goes home every night and he just writes in his journal about how much he hates black people and Hispanic people and all these other people. But guess what? What he did in that video was not racist. So that's the problem. Like it was this dude was doing the job. He saw a threat and he dealt with it. So he could be racist. He could have swastikas all on his body that you can't see on his uniform. But guess what? He gave him a reason to shoot his ass. And I mean that's how it ended.
And what we'll never know is if that was the intent, because death by suicide by cop is a thing. People do those crazy things in the heat of the moment to off themselves.
Right.
We don't know if maybe he was inside with the gun and the girl was gone and he wanted to shoot himself, but then use this as a play to get out. Like, I don't know, but
PTSD.
Right. I was thinking that you just got, they're trained to get rid of the threat, and that's where we're at.
He may have walked in on her getting a train ran on her. Like he was like, yo.
Maybe.
He got the hammer. They'd have been coming for a homicide call, not a domestic call. He'd have been shooting already.
I don't know. Somebody got life insurance money, so you can't do that. I mean, like somebody got to take you out for life insurance.
Let's open it up to the community. Family, you guys have heard the discussion. Let us know what you guys think. If you guys have not heard about this case, you will, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be mainstream news like pretty soon once the case, when it starts going to court and stuff like that. So what do you guys think? Was the police in the wrong? Was the airman wrong? Should this be a racial issue? Should it be treated as such? Where do gun laws or gun rights fall into this conversation? All of that is in the mix right now, right? So let us know what you guys think. Heather and Gio, we always appreciate you guys and your perspectives. Thank you so much. And with that said, Ty, we can wrap it up and and subscribe, share. We on the move. Things are changing. We're trying to upgrade. Things are going to get better. So stick with us. We're on the grind, but we're almost at 1,000 and we're trying to keep going after that. We'll celebrate when we reach 1,000 subs. We just started. We haven't even been a year yet. So we're just out here trying to grind.
Congratulations to that. We will have to celebrate. Maybe let's do cheers. When
let's do it. All right, y'all.
All right, y'all. Till next time.
Till next time.